For this unit, we're going to be talking about artist Leonardo da Vinci and one-point perspective. So let's talk about Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was an Italian artist who lived from 1452 to 1519. He lived during a period of art called the Renaissance. He was an artist, an inventor, a musician, among many things. He was often credited with the invention of the parachute, the tank, and the helicopter. His most famous works are probably the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. Only 15 of his paintings have survived to this day, and a painting by Leonardo sold for a world record of $450.3 million in New York on November 15th, 2017, which made it the highest price ever paid for a work of art. Now we're going to talk about one-point perspective. One-point perspective is a drawing or an artwork that has what's called a vanishing point. This little X is where the vanishing point is. It also has a horizon line. Here's the horizon line. The horizon line is what separates the sky from the ground. And typically you see this on images where you see roads, train tracks, buildings, that type of thing, because it helps create the perspective that things are all directed towards this vanishing point. If we look at that in some famous Renaissance artwork, like this painting by Raphael, you can see that everything in this painting kind of points towards this middle arch, right? Look. So if you take a closer look at all of these people, like for instance, this man's shoulders pointed back towards the arch. This man's body pointed back towards the arch. This leg pointed back towards the arch. It all helps create the illusion that everything is in balance, everything's in correct proportion, and everything is pointed back to that center vanishing point. Okay, here's another painting where you can see, look at the lines of the building. See how they're going back to this center vanishing point? So if we take a look at Da Vinci's The Last Supper, it's a large fresco painting, meaning that he painted it on a wall, and it still survives today. It's actually still exists in a monastery dining room. He used what's called one-point perspective. He wanted the focal point of his painting to obviously be Jesus sitting at the center of the table. Okay, and then all of these other people and these doors or windows or artworks and these windows all needed to be pointing to the center. So see how if I put those lines in there, how it all kind of points towards the center. Here it is again, and they point towards the center. So we're going to start our project now. I'm going to warn you, we're going to do a lot of erasing on this project, so you need to draw lightly. I'm going to go through this quickly. You're going to need to pause when you need to pause and take time, and then you can go back and keep working when you need to, okay? So on your piece of paper, you need to turn it so it's horizontally, which means the long way across. You're going to write your name on it. Then your second step is you're going to fold it in half. If we're going by elementary school terms, this is a hamburger fold, not the long way. You're going to fold it in half. Then you're going to fold it in half again, going the same direction. So another hamburger fold, and you're going to have a long, skinny rectangle. You should then be able to open your paper, and it should have 3 folds on it and 4 spaces. And it should look like this. You are not going to draw dotted lines. That's just showing you where the fold should be. Okay, so go ahead and smooth out your paper. Make sure you have those sections. If you don't, you need to try again. Okay, now we're going to fold your paper again. This time we're going to go the opposite direction, so you're going to make what's called a hot dog fold, and it's going to be long and skinny. So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to fold from top to bottom, long and skinny, okay? Then you're going to fold the same direction from top to bottom, long and skinny, okay? So when you open your paper back up, now you have 16 rectangles. If you do not, you did something incorrect, and you need to try again. That's why I sent home 2 papers for you. So if you did something incorrect, you need to try again. You should have 16 rectangles. And remember, you're not drawing these dotted lines. These are just where your fold should be on your paper. Okay, these are very important to creating our one-point perspective room. With your pencil and your ruler, you are now going to outline the center 4 boxes of your paper. So if you'll look, you have all these folds, right? But you see how there's 4 boxes in the middle. You're going to use your ruler and your pencil, and you're going to outline these 4. So now, this dark line is where you're going to draw with your pencil. Okay, you're going to have an outline right here. Then you're going to use your pencil and your ruler, and you're going to connect each corner of the box to each corner of the paper so that you create the ceiling, the floor, the side walls, and the back wall of your 1-point perspective room. Next, you are going to take the shape stencil that I hand you, and you're going to try and place it as close to the picture where I have it in the picture as possible, and you're going to trace it. So mine, you're just going to put it right here on your paper, kind of exactly where I put it, just leave a little bit of room right here. You're going to put it there, and you're going to create an outline of it, okay? Then you, as you can see, once you trace it, these are not connected right here, so you're going to take your ruler and your pencil and you're going to connect this so it goes all the way across. We are now creating the 2 windows behind your table and the table for your Last Supper drawing. Okay, so once again, you're going to trace that shape, you're going to outline it, then you're going to take a ruler and you're going to draw all the way across. Next, you're going to erase. So you're going to erase all the lines that are inside of this front table right here, so it should look like this. So right here, all of these lines inside this front table part, you're going to erase. So it should look like this. So now we have the front of our table and we have the 2 windows behind. Okay, next, I want you to set your ruler on top of your table. So you're going to set it right on top, and you're going to take your pencil and you're going to draw a line all the way across. Okay, so it should look like this when you're finished. Okay, here's where it gets tricky. So now we're going to add our vanishing point. Now, I made this red and really large so you can see where it's at, but your vanishing point should just be a dot between your 2 windows. You are going to eventually erase it, so don't make it big and dark like I did. I just did that for the purpose of this video so that you can see where it should be. Okay, so you're going to draw a dot right between your 2 windows. And now we're going to create the top of our table. So we have the front of our table, but we need to make the top where the people are going to actually set their food. So you're going to line your ruler up in 3 spots. Your ruler needs to touch the corner of this table. Your ruler needs to touch the line up here. And your ruler needs to touch the vanishing point. So see how my ruler's touching here, here, and here? Then you're going to draw a line connecting the corner of your table to the line and stop. Do not keep going to your vanishing point. Stop at this line right here. It should look like this when you're finished. You're going to complete that step on the other side. You're going to make sure your ruler is touching the corner of your table, the line right here, and your vanishing point. You're going to draw a line from the corner of your table up to the line and stop. It should almost look like you have little whiskers on your drawing. That's okay. That's what you want right now, okay? But your next step is to erase. So now, if you see my mouse, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little lines in the top of this table. You need to erase those, okay? You see how now that's creating a 3-dimensional table? Then next, you want to erase those little whiskers. So these little lines right here, you're going to erase them. And then if you need to fix these lines right here, fix those. So you have these little whiskers and you're going to erase those. Okay, awesome. So now our windows are done, our table's done, and we're just going to add one last thing, which is we're going to add a photo frame on each wall. So with your ruler, you're going to draw 2 vertical lines on each wall. Okay, and they need to be a couple inches apart and they need to be about 3 or 4 inches long. All right. Then you're going to use your ruler and you're going to line your ruler up with your vanishing point, and your ruler has to touch those 2 lines at some place. So see how they touch, and then you're going to draw a line connecting those two lines. Now, if you have a little bit of overhang, that's okay. That happens. You're going to do that on both sides. Then you're going to do the same thing for the top of the frame. You're going to connect your ruler with the vanishing point and the top of the frame, and you're going to draw your line, and you're going to repeat that on both sides. Now, like I said, you might have some extra lines going on, and that's okay, because then you'll just erase them, okay? And then you have your 2 windows, your table, your picture frames, and your room. So the last thing is you just need to erase your vanishing point, and you're done, okay? Now, that's a lot, so go ahead and take your time, pause when you need to. You need to get this done today, and then that's your stopping point. And so you will stop this video today, and you'll continue tomorrow on to the next directions. So I'm going to go ahead and keep talking, but just know that this is your stopping point for today, and then tomorrow you'll move on to the next point. Okay, so now that your room is done, you need to think of a theme for your Last Supper drawing. Okay, so it needs to have one theme. So here's an example that a student did. She did the Last Supper for Peanuts, and Peanuts is Charlie Brown. So you are going to draw things in your windows, you're going to draw things in your photo frames, you're going to decorate your table, you're going to have characters. You need to have food for your characters. So you have to have at least 5 characters in your drawing, at least 5, you can have more. You have to have food that they're eating, you have to have silverware, cups, all that stuff, and you kind of have to think about what would these characters be eating. Okay, if you're drawing Harry Potter, what are they eating? What would the room look like if it's Harry Potter? What would be in the windows if it's Harry Potter? Okay, what would be in the picture frames? What size should the characters be in relation to each other? Obviously, Hagrid should be way bigger than Hermione, right? Or if you're doing Pokemon, see how they're different sizes? Minecraft, you can get creative. Where should the characters be? If they're sitting on the side of the table, look how he's sideways. He should not be facing forward. Look, if they're sitting at the table, you should only see them from the waist up. You could probably see their arms, but other than that, you shouldn't see their whole body unless they're giants like these characters are, okay? What are they eating? Once again, I had a student who was a boxer, so they're eating spinach and drinking energy drinks, all right? That's what boxers would be eating. Mickey Mouse is eating cheese, all right? So you really need to think about, you know, what your characters are eating, what details you're going to have. You have to draw at least 5 characters. Again, I don't want to see their whole bodies. They're sitting down at the table eating. If they're sitting on the side of the table, they should be sitting sideways, okay? So once again, you need at least 5 characters. You need to draw things in the frames. You need to draw things in the windows. They need to have food. And then you can kind of decorate your room as you want. So you're going to start with pencil today. You'll continue with pencil tomorrow. And then on Friday, you will finish with pencil and trace with Sharpie, and we will start coloring next week, all right? So you have about 3 class periods to get your drawing done. There's absolutely no tracing, meaning you cannot put your drawing up to your Chromebook and trace characters. If you do that, you'll just get a 0 on your project because I will be able to tell. Okay, so just have fun with this, and we will talk about your theme when I talk to you tomorrow.